Hello, everyone. Welcome to Take the Black Live, one of maybe 2 or 3 shows on the internet that dare to talk about things like TV, movies, space lasers, and dragons. I am Dan Selke, the editor of winnerscoming.net, here with Daniel Roman, the other editor of winnerscoming.net, and we are happy to be here on Wednesday at 4 to entertain and edify you. Daniel, how are you doing?
I am doing splendidly. How are you, Dan?
Pretty good. I'm going to say A- because, it's getting warmer here in Chicago and there's lots of stuff to talk about, even stuff we didn't have time to plan for because it came out like literally 3 seconds ago.
Yeah, we got news literally as we were starting up the show. So the fantasy sci-fi news cycle never sleeps,
never stops,
never rests.
It's that I guess we can get to it. If anyone's curious, feel free to ask.
Sure.
Because there's quite a bit always going on. And Daniel, what are we talking about today? And thanks everybody who's watching. Hi, feel free to comment, question, query, and so forth. And we would love to interact with you in a interactive kind of way.
Yeah, in a measured fashion. Thanks for tuning in. So the big thing that we were going to talk about today is the Lord of the Rings of Power posters, because those came out since we were last in this fantastic discussion group about sci-fi fantasy stuff. And there are a lot of them, these hands of power. So have you seen these, Dan?
Of course I've seen them. What kind of question is that?
Yeah.
The Lord of the Rings.
It was a leading question.
That's true. The Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power, big old Amazon Lord of the Rings show. Yeah, they released like 23 posters or something for the show. It's not going to be coming out until September. So they're really getting out ahead of it. And they're pretty curious that they've chosen to go all hands on deck, if you will, for a series of posters that are just people's hands. What do you think of that, Daniel?
I think it was a choice that someone made. I don't dislike it. I think in terms of I don't want to say subtle. It's not the most subtle thing, but it feels like a nice kind of subtle way to introduce the hype train for the show. I feel like they've been doing really good at like meeting out tiny little things to get excited about. So the hands are intriguing. They've kept the cast itself pretty close to their chest. Like we know some of the actors, but so far as I know, they haven't really announced any roles officially.
That's true. Yeah, but I'm like, this person is. Oh no, we know that the one woman is playing Galadriel. I know that, but
yes,
that's. I don't remember if that was like a leak or if it was official.
I don't know if maybe they announced that around the title reveal because she's narrating it, right? That's her.
Well, we don't know that. They've been very stingy. Are some of these hands hers? Maybe. And hey, Julie.
Yeah. So I've seen people speculating about some of the characters. Obviously, that I assume that's kind of what they were hoping for, right? To release this many hands. We've got what 46 hands across these 23 posters, give or take.
23 people.
So they clearly wanted to get us talking about who some of these characters are. There's one pretty cool one that's, on the surface, it's easy to say, is that Sauron? Is that the Witch King? That black armored one? I read a pretty cool theory about that one, though, that it's neither of those, because Sauron is still, he's a stud still at this point in time. He doesn't look all gnarly or anything. Yeah. He still has a very attractive, these are Tolkien's words, not mine, a very attractive humanoid aspect at this point in time. So I've seen speculation that this is a character named Adar, who is apparently an elf that gets twisted to I almost said the dark side, to evil, and leads a bunch of orcs. And the speculation I've seen is that is going to be played by Joseph Mawley, was Benjen Stark on Game of Thrones. Right. Again, this isn't official, but it's an intriguing theory.
It's so specific. I have to wonder, where are they getting this speculation? Because I've heard nothing like this, definitely not official stuff. So like, how do you get into that particular?
Yeah. So I watched a podcast of this like Lord of the Rings fan group called Fellowship of Fans, and they talked about how there had been a leak apparently that Joseph Mawley was shooting with a bunch of orcs. He was playing an elf character, shooting with a bunch of orcs, and they were looking up to him like a father figure. And the father figure was in quotes. And apparently he's a character from the books, presumably. I'm not super tight on my Silmarillion knowledge, but apparently that means father in Elvish. So it's a very you know, I don't want to say nitpicky, but it feels like a conspiracy theory, even if there's some seemingly solid evidence. Seemingly solid.
I mean, everything involved in this feels like a conspiracy theory. That's basically what we are. We're a responsible, non-harmful conspiracy podcast about conspiracies that don't matter, which is where conspiracy should stay. It could be cool. I mean, I like the art. It definitely looks Sauron-ish. I'm impressed by fans who are gonna ferret this stuff out. I mean, an elf who leads orcs, just as someone who has read Silmarillion twice, that doesn't really seem like it tracks to me, but I'm looking forward to them bastardizing Tolkien's vision.
Nice. Isn't there something where like orcs were made from elves that were twisted? Isn't there something like that in the mythos?
Yeah, there is, but that's orcs. It's like, as far as I know, I mean, if there are any Lord of the Rings super fans watching, I could be wrong because this myth goes deep. That you can turn them into orcs, but there's no elf who works for Morgoth. There's no elf who works for Sauron. They're kind of incorruptible. They can be turned into monstrosities, but they can't like be turned. Exactly. Although they can kill each other. That's the first stage, though. Ooh, look how much stuff I know.
Ooh. Okay. So that makes sense. So we don't have evil elves. You're either
though. They could do it.
That's true. I mean, the show's going to do what it wants, and I doubt they're going to get an actor. Again, this is supposedly like Joseph Mawley, and put him under so much prosthetics that we can't tell it's him.
Just like add the ears. They paid the Tolkien estate $100 million. They can do whatever they want.
That is true. And that is what they're doing. So,
and dark elf sounds pretty cool. So yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, right. So okay, so you've read the Silmarillion not once but twice, right?
Twice. Yeah.
So who are some of the major players we need to look out for in this show? Like we know very little, but like we know there are some big names that are around in the Second Age. Who should we know about?
Yeah, but I can't say their names from the top of my head. We got Gil-galad. Gil-galad, High King. I guess I can. Gil-galad, High King of the Noldor, who is the exile elves who voluntarily left him on all that time ago and killed some other elves on their way to Middle Earth. So he's like he didn't put us with that though. He was born in Middle Earth, I think. There's Galadriel, of course, is hanging around. There's the Numenorian people who do have names, but I forget some of them. The Al-Farazon, that's the one. That's the big one. That's the king who ends up sailing west and sinking his civilization along with him.
Oh yeah.
After Sauron whispers a Grima worm tongue like into his ear, sweet nothings of wickedness. Yeah.
So he's one that I'm excited to see what they do with him. So he's one of the few people I do remember from what I've read of the Silmarillion. I'll be straight. I haven't read the whole thing, but I read at least the Second Age chunk and a decent part of the rest of it. So Ar-Pharazôn, Numenor has this strong Atlantis vibe where it's like a city that is in the middle of the ocean that's very advanced, and they get basically sunk by their own hubris. And it's kind of very Greek. So he's kind of the one who succumbs. And on the flip side, we've got Isildur, who gets a real bad rap from Lord of the Rings, but he's kind of heroic throughout all these events.
Because even the noble-hearted can be corrupted by the dark call of the id, or whatever the ring represents, or the human fall. It's all very biblical. But yeah, Isildur escapes.
Totally.
But I mean, like, again, it's hard to know what they're gonna compress it in. What other hands do we got to look at when we can talk about anything?
Well, we've got a hand that looks like it's probably a Rohan era, like early Rohan. I mean, I can't think of what else, a horse pommel. You know, that's so specific that's got to be related to like the rise of Rohan, which I think we do get to see in the Second Age.
I don't quite remember. I think so. It sounds about right. Or like really, yeah, probably at some point.
Yeah. I think a lot of like the big civilizations that we know from Lord of the Rings, we get to see get their start in the Second Age. Maybe some of them are late in the first, but like, so Elrond is building Rivendell.
Yes.
So that's a thing. And then there's Rohan, and Gondor is also a thing that is being built during this time period. So yeah, presumably
there's like another Minas Tirith. It's totally different than the city we know from Lord of the Rings. It's like another civilization built in the first age. It was so confusing, trying to wiki this stuff. Like, not only do you make this mythology that's like thousands of years deep, you have to name things the same thing. Why? It's making it very hard for me.
That's realistic, right? That's like the George R. R. Martin method.
There are elves.
10 characters named Robert because that's the way history works.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we've got that one. I labeled this one Dirty Apple Hands. So yeah, we've got this one. It's given off some Smeagol vibes, even though I'm sure it's maybe they're not totally Smeagoling out, but they kind of had the gauge. You can tell a lot about the class or the station of some of these characters by the filth level on their hands, which I found kind of funny because there are some immaculate hands and quite a few hands with like dirt under their fingernails and stuff. Really presumably hands, and that one's got kind of a I don't want to say a threadbare shirt, but it's there's some pretty tattered clothes. So I don't know who that could be, but the next one
looks like again it kind of like gives me biblical, like with the apple and the serpent and everything. Maybe what if they go whole hog into the religious allegory? That would be bold. No one would expect that from them to do that. I'm looking forward to like be pretty Tolkien masses. Tolkien was a bit subtler when it came to biblical stuff. Like his friend C.S. Lewis was like, the lion is God or Jesus or whatever, but Tolkien was a bit more like, not secular is the wrong word, but less on the nose about it.
Totally.
I am looking forward to like teeming masses of grubby, dirty peasants, like kind of yearning to break free. I think we'll see some of that.
Yeah. I could see there being a harder class stratification maybe with some of these civilizations, especially Numenor. Numenorians compared to regular Middle Earth humans. Right? Because humans went and lived on Middle Earth and they kind of became their own culture. They lost the long-livedness of the Numenorians, who are that's like Aragorn's
they never
bloodline.
Had
they
it.
lived for. Oh, they never had it.
Yeah, like so. Okay. By the way, Julie, thanks for commenting. Apparently, we definitely know you're joking. That'd be fun with Snow White. For some reason we can't see your comments in Facebook, but we got this other thing going up. So keep commenting away, and we will keep getting back to you. But no, okay, it's so important that I tell you this, Daniel.
Okay.
The Numenorians spring from the Edain, who helped fight Morgoth in the first age, and then someone, I don't even know who, like gave them long life and Numenor. But there are other humans who were already there. They all have normal human lives.
I see. So they missed the boat.
They missed the boat. They didn't help. If they had helped, they would live for 400 years too. They didn't help.
Gotcha. Or so there's a moral there.
I'm not going to reward you. What's that?
I said, so there's a moral there that
help out.
Getting across.
If there's an evil dark lord threatening to cover the world in darkness, help out, and then you get to live 400 years. That's the moral.
Maybe do your part, and you'll be around longer. So speaking of people who are around a while, the next set of hands we've got are dwarf hands. They seem pretty clearly to be dwarf hands. There's a hammer there.
Got that.
I'm gonna assume some dwarvish or elvish on it. But the real tell is that nice braided beard coming down the back. I think that gives it away.
Yeah, we gotta have some dwarves.
Yeah, I've seen speculation this guy might be Durin, who I recognize the name.
Right.
I don't really remember what Durin got up to. I have a feeling he probably built some stuff.
I'm gonna go ahead and say, I could be wrong though, that he built Moria. I know the Second Age is when the dwarves delved out Moria and were hanging out there, and it was like a big happening place before it got all wrecked, gross, and dour and yucky.
Before they hit wherever the Balrog was sleeping, right? Because the Balrogs were around at the end of the first stage, and then ran away and hid.
Yes. And I know that in the Second Age, the elves and the dwarves were kind of friendly. They had like a kinship going on, so that could be fun.
Yeah. What was it?
Wasn't there that horrible elf dwarf
password
romance in the Hobbit movies? Ugh.
Yeah. That's the only reaction I've got for that is more of that, but better, hopefully. I wasn't a fan.
I'm cynical, I guess. I'm assuming they're gonna mess this up, but what's the next hands?
Okay, next we've got only 2 more hands to look at. The next one, hands holding a notebook that looks nicely.
Notebook hands.
Yeah, notebook hands. That it's nicely designed. It's got some nice embossing on it. I'm gonna guess this is either a Numenorian noble of some kind, or maybe an elf.
Yeah, we gotta have some elves in there, right? I mean, who else wears that rope around their bust? I have no idea, but I bet they can sell the book for a merchandise on Amazon.
Yeah. Yep. This is actually just an ad. This isn't even for the Rings of Power. Okay,
when,
so the last
Arwen.
hands.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh no! What were you gonna say?
Remember when Arwen, in Return of the King, something important happens and she drops her book in a very slow-mo, dramatic fashion in Return of the King?
Yes,
I do, and that book reminds me of it.
I could see that. Yep, that was the day Arwen decided she needed a Kindle.
That's Arwen's book. Okay.
Yep. All right. So these last hands, this is an interesting one. So it's a hand holding a broken sword, and I don't think this is Narsil, which is the sword that was used to cut the ring off Sauron's hand. We saw that get broken in Lord of the Rings. It was whole for the Second Age. Right. So this is presumably some other sword, but the design of the cut seems kind of specifically done at that angle to evoke the image of Narsil, and the hilts looks pretty similar to the sword that the dark armored hand had. So I don't know if this is like a new type of sword hilt design we're going to see a lot more of in this show. But what do you think of this?
I like the design. I like the kind of the 3 kind of hooky things around the sword.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's not Narsil, what is it doing here? Like, why would you put a broken sword on a poster?
That's fair.
Like, folk are going to think about that. There is a famous broken sword from Lord of the Rings. It's Narsil. Yeah, Isildur used to cut off the hand of Sauron. Then Aragorn took it up, then it broke. Sauron took it up, centuries later. Like, that's the broken sword from Lord of the Rings. If it's not Narsil, I think they're trolling a little bit.
What if there's wherever this is a first age blade, it got broken, they're gonna fix it at the beginning of the Second Age and then break it again at the end,
or they invented a whole new broken sword so we can have a broken sword thing to follow.
Yep, that's true. They're gonna show up and give Isildur this sword while he's camping before the final battle.
It's pretty though. Again, I wouldn't mind having it.
Yeah, I mean the design. I want to say the design of this show looks so nice, but all we've seen are these posters and that it looks like it's going to be gorgeous. And for the sheer amount of money that they're throwing at it, I'd be surprised if it was anything other than gorgeous.
I feel like I am kind of crapping on it a bunch, but the posters do look nice, and the costume detail is there, and the prop detail is there. So I probably should be a little less of a grumpy ghost about this, because it does look very tailored, designed, interesting, colorful, grimy in the right ways, layered. You got the dirt, and you got the cleanliness, you got the levels happening on. So actually, yeah, it looks good. It looks cool. I'm ready for a teaser, and clearly they're ready to give me one.
Yeah. So the teaser that's coming this weekend, right? At the Super Bowl, potentially. Amazon posted, I think it was on Instagram, saying teaser coming soon. They posted a teaser to let us know there would be a teaser. And they put it in Elvish, the date for the teaser, which is like you're gonna earn points with the super fans that way.
Ooh, it's a jokey up in here. I'm down for it. I'm ready to see something, because I mean the show's been coming a long time, so I'm ready.
Yeah,
and they want to get it rolling quick. There's a lot of folk on like the House of the Dragons in Game of Thrones sphere who are kind of like complaining a bit about like, why aren't there more House of the Dragon stuff? Which I guess it's just like, because like Netflix released the Last Kingdom trailer like not even a month, or like exactly a month after before it happens. Amazon is releasing Lord of the Rings stuff fully almost a year before that happens. They go at different paces, these things. I'm sure everything will come along in due time.
But we already got a house. I feel like
that's true. People are forgetting.
It's not quite fair for House of the Dragon, because we got a teaser for that, if I remember right, and then we got like a full trailer, and that was months ago. So
are you saying the people who are complaining are doing so irrationally and shouldn't be doing that? That's silly.
I mean, I would never presume, but all I'm saying is there might be a House of the Dragon trailer out there somewhere if you feel so inclined to look for it. Maybe we'll get something else soon.
I think we can leave it there. Yeah, looking forward to it. Looks cool.
So speaking of trailers, we, you just mentioned The Last Kingdom. We got that one today. And to go along with that trailer, Netflix was so kind as to give us a release date for this show. So we know that the final season of The Last Kingdom is coming on March 9th. What do you think, Dan? Are you a fan of The Last Kingdom? Have you watched it?
I am, yeah. I watched the whole thing. I enjoyed it. I mean, it's a good series. I like Bernard Cornwell. I've read a few of his books.
Yeah.
The Warlord Chronicles, I like a lot. It's also been made into a TV series, by the way. And yeah, they're just well done, kind of medieval, political, battle-y, horse and axe and talking dramas. I think it is a good, solid meat and potatoes show. I don't think it's quite like enraptured me the way some other shows have, but I like it quite a bit. And I'm glad they're getting to finish out strong and go out on their terms, you know? Because they've earned it. Like,
yeah, I mean, this show didn't start on Netflix. Do you remember where it started? I do feel like
it was like a
BBC
/ Netflix co-production. I think it's at the start. I think BBC held on the first 2 seasons, and then I think it was always on Netflix. It was just with the help of BBC, and then BBC, as it does, it's not as interested in like long form TV shows. It's more like get in and do a season, maybe come back in a few years, do another one. But Netflix wants, and then they took it over in the 3rd season, I think, to just kind of keep on keeping on with its own.
That sounds right.
Vision.
Yeah.
And now here we are at the 5th and final season, Around the Bend in March.
Yep. And so just to clarify, this is the last season of the show, but it is not the end of the series. So we know that they're making a movie that comes after this called Seven Kings Must Die, and that started filming 10 days ago, so they're working on that right now.
I will say, they're doing a good job of like kind of giving us content, although I think there was something to be said for like, it comes out in a month and they only put out the trailer and the release date today, like, which is the Netflix way. Netflix just, again, Netflix is the one that throws things against the wall. If it sticks, it sticks. If it doesn't, it doesn't. They don't really do hype. But and I wish they would. I wish they would like look at some of their shows and invest in them. Because I mean, Netflix, they just like, we'll get another Squid Game sooner or later. It'll just blow up on its own, which like probably will happen, but it'd be cool if they did some more promotion stuff.
Yeah, I feel like the attitude is, well, we know that you are on Netflix every day.
Yeah,
we don't really need to convince you to check your Netflix. We just need to make sure when you log into Netflix, you see this is on now.
Mm-hmm. Except for Stranger Things. That one they know now to do stuff for, but that's the exception.
Yeah, I think The Witcher is close to that too, where they talk about it more ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was surprised that we only got the trailer and release date a month out. I'm not surprised that we're getting the show soon. I'm just surprised they took so long to announce it, because they finished filming like June of last year, I think.
It's not one of their golden shows. For the non-golden shows, silver and bronzes, they just kind of, it's coming. Like, we'll do a trailer, but we're not going to put much effort into it. Shall we watch the trailer? What if it's good?
Yeah, let's do it. It's pretty intense.
Okay.
For many years, there was peace between Saxon and Danes.
England, 1490. I know it's not. It's like 800, 900 something.
Yeah, I think it's 900 by this point.
What century it is?
It's the 10th century. It started in the 9th century. Now we're into the 10th. And Uhtred. There are raiders. Brida's leading the raiders, and they're going after Uhtred now. So they were friends from the beginning. And I don't know what she did to his son there, but it doesn't look good.
Ooh, I love that, like a long form, which he likes to do, but not by the way, because Warlord Chronicles 2, like there's. Did you ever read the Warlord Chronicles by any chance?
I haven't. I've read a couple of the Last Kingdom books. I haven't read Warlord Chronicles yet.
They're really good. They also have like a guy and a girl who are childhood friends and then end up being enemies in adulthood. It's actually kind of similar to this, but he does it well. And I like a long form thing like that, where like you trace the whole arc of a character through many, many years until people are bitter enemies by the end. And yeah, it looks great. It's cool that they've kind of upped. Season 5, the big one, they know it's the end, so they can kind of go whole hog and really give us the spectacle that, burning thing. Armies, gotta love armies. Like a Game of Thrones.
Yeah. So, speaking of spectacle, I love the shot of the armies fighting on the cliff and being forced off the cliff. It seems like we're going to see them come back to Bebbanburg, which has always been Uhtred's thing of reclaiming Bebbanburg. So I haven't read that far in the books, but I'm hopeful that, the show will bring that full circle, because that's kind of what it looks like. King Edward's now a man instead of a kind of whiny kid. So maybe he can do some competent stuff this season.
I just like saying Bebba. I think it's very fun to say how Uhtred says it.
Yeah, Uhtred, he's got an awesome accent. I don't know what kind of accent that is. Bebba.
Yeah, I'm not gonna try and venture either. There are so many things in England. But as Julie says, she's looking forward to The Last Kingdom. Fantastic, looks good. I agree.
It does, right?
It does. It really does. I'm sorry that show never caught on in a huge way. I'm sorry it never caught absolute fire the way like a Stranger Things or a Game of Thrones or even a Vikings did. For whatever reason, it has its very, very loyal, intense fans, and it's clearly popular enough to get 5 seasons in a movie, but it never quite like penetrated. Like it was never talked about on morning news shows, which would have been nice. But I'm very glad. I'm plenty glad that it's getting to finish out strong, and I'm sure it will finish out strong because they have a pretty good reputation.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's one of those shows. I'm gonna compare it. I don't think it's quite on the level, but the way it's kind of being an under the radar hit makes me think of Black Sails, which is I'll die on this mountain of Black Sails was my favorite show of the past decade, but it didn't get a ton of hype.
You like Black Sails?
I feel like The Last Kingdom's similar, where it's like maybe it hasn't been mind blowing the whole run, but it's been solid. Like I can't think of a bad stretch the show ever had.
No, it really hasn't. And yet, that's a good comparison too. Like both period dramas, both beloved and both well made, but just never quite found that. Like Rome's another one from like HBO that Rome series, but ancient Rome was like popular, influential, but just never quite hit it gigantic. But there's just one more TV show to put in your binge list if you haven't already, because it is some good stuff.
Yeah, totally. It's definitely good if you miss the medieval politicking and kind of backstabbing of Game of Thrones. It's got that pretty well.
For me, it's this and Succession are the two like Game of Thrones methadone shows.
Yeah, I could do that. I still need to watch Succession.
I recommend it, man. It's solid stuff. But
I'm gonna get there.
What else are you watching though?
Yeah. Well, the big thing that I watched today that I feel like we've got to talk about because the finale came out today is the Book of Boba Fett. Did you get a chance to watch the finale?
I did, yeah. I watched it over lunch. I watched it when I was kind of doing stuff. Yeah. And by the way, not just us, what are you all watching out there too? Feel free to sound off. Yes, I watched the finale of Boba Fett and I liked it. I liked it.
Yeah.
Now the show is the entirety is before us. I can look back on the whole thing and kind of say, even though it was competent, I still don't quite know why it existed. Like, when the best things about it had nothing to do with Boba Fett. Like, my favorite bit of this episode was when the Mandalorian and Baby Yoda reunited, when they were kind of riding Amy Sedaris's little robot rickshaw thing. And I thought they should have shut the moment out more, honestly. Like, I thought that would happen too quickly. I would have liked like a proper like reunion scene where they look at each other from across a thing and then run to each other through a field of flowers. It kind of happened very fast, but it was still very effective. It just didn't have anything to do with Boba Fett. And they get the last word, like as they kind of speed off in their spaceship. And it was adorable because Baby Yoda's adorable and really cool. And I do like seeing him. I like seeing him when he goes,
who doesn't?
Like nobody doesn't. Everybody loves Baby Yoda. And it was fun to watch him, but just this show is called Boba Fett. Okay. Also, first of all, where's the book? Where's that book? There's already book in the show. I feel very cheated about that. And the second thing is Boba Fett just wasn't very interesting. I mean, even in this one, like it ended, he's walking the street and they couldn't wait to show us the characters who are interesting out there in space. And I just don't know why those episodes wasn't the Mandalorian season 3 and why they were in this show at all. And it's a solid B- C+ of a show, but I don't think it needed to be.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same opinion. So like I am a huge Star Wars fan. I've loved it ever since I was little. I haven't seen the Clone Wars, which I guess for some people would make me not a huge Star Wars fan. Is what it is.
You're fine. There's a lot out there.
But so the Book of Boba Fett, it really did feel like the Mandalorian season 2.5 a little bit, because he came in basically halfway through the season and then was basically almost the focus of the entire last half of the season. He had 2 whole episodes that were just him, and then some of the best parts of this finale were about him. I loved Boba Fett riding the Rancor.
That was fun.
I think I said when it started, if he doesn't ride, Chekhov's Rancor in this episode that we saw earlier in the series, I was going to be upset. So that was cool. There was cool stuff. I felt like
cool stuff. Yes.
It relied a little too heavily on the fan service for me, which has kind of always been the issue. I think the Star Wars shows that's becoming more and more the issue. So Cad Bane is really cool. I loved Cad Bane. I'm not familiar with Clone Wars. I know they have a history where I guess Cad Bane was a mentor to young Boba Fett or what. And
this is like the alien blue-faced gunslinger man with no name, Clint Eastwood space extraterrestrial guy. Yes.
That's the one. Yeah. So from what I read, Cad Bane mentored him and they had a falling out. I wish so the show brought it back around to that. I feel like for the super fans, that's fantastic. They're probably super excited about that. For me, as someone who didn't know Cad Bane, I still would have loved it if they had put like 2 or 3 more lines in, letting us know that they knew each other before they were facing each other. Like it's stuff like that where it's like just a little bit of ironing out would have made a huge difference, because there was a point where Boba Fett said his name and I was like, how does he know his name? He hasn't said it, and no one is asking Boba Fett how he knows his name. Why didn't we talk about this? So yeah, I enjoyed the Book of Boba Fett. I'm glad it exists, but I can totally see the point of why wasn't this just more Mandalorian, because it seems like even Disney knew that's kind of what we all wanted.
Yes, they did. And they put it in there. And I even resent a little bit being made to watch this, because I mean, like, I couldn't have just watched the Mandalorian season 3 and I would have been a little lost, because when last they left, Baby Yoda was going away.
Yeah, good
now
call.
They're back together, and I imagine season 3 would just start with them back together. And I would not have, if I just tuned into that, it would have been confusing, because they're making you more than I've seen before, making you watch this so you can catch up on the show you actually want to watch, which I think is a little underhanded. I liked Cad Bane, like the kind of voice and the look. I thought he was effectively drawn. But yeah, that was weird when he's like, well, I haven't seen you in a long time. Like, you know each other. This is like walking in on Act 3. We haven't seen Act 1 and 2. It was a little weird.
Yeah, and I'm okay not seeing Act 1 and 2, but let us know there was an Act 1 and 2 before that moment, and it just would have made it more effective. Man, I didn't even think about your point about that. Now you have to watch this because they They basically covered the most major plot point of the Mandalorian's last season, which is that him and Baby Yoda split up. They addressed that here, and I totally agree. I wish there was some way for them to take more time for reuniting them. And that's the kind of thing where it's like, if it was their own show, I'm sure they would have. But because they're a subplot of this show, they did it quick and dirty, even though it was still some of my favorite moments of the entire season.
Oh yeah, they were good. Like, I enjoyed seeing Baby Yoda again. I enjoyed seeing him lift frogs. I enjoyed seeing him just cuddle the dude and crush robots. And yeah, he was great. But yeah, it's a strange strategy. And I mean, I know what they want to do. They don't just want us to like one show. They want us to like and be addicted to a whole network of shows, so we keep our eyes glued to Disney Plus. Is I think the strategy behind it. And I don't like it.
Yeah, I am inclined to agree. I think, I don't know that it's the best way to go about it. That's also kind of why I think they didn't explain Cad Bane more, was so that now people will be like, who's this dude? I guess I'll go watch Clone Wars, which is all on Disney Plus. But I feel like the flip side of that is just make a bunch of really good shows. Like, don't make it so we have to watch them all. Make it so we want to watch them all.
I agree. I think that would be excellent. By the way, Julie is watching Australian Survivor, which has Julie, who is your Sandra? Sandra Bullock? Is she in the cast? That'd be great. I love her.
I'd watch it if she was in the cast. Sandra Bullock 100%. On Australian Survivor. She's not Australian, so I don't know how that would work, but I would tune in to find out. So the last thing I want to say about Book of Boba Fett, and then I want to hear your final word on this show.
Hit me.
Mark Hamill.
Ooh, right.
Was kind of in the episode before this, except he wasn't really. So
Luke Skywalker
Luke Skywalker was, but Mark Hamill was not involved at all in the production.
That's what I read.
Think technologically it was amazing and I really liked it. But
it was really good.
At the same time, does he get paid for them to use his likeness? There's something about that just rubs me the wrong way, that they can put him in and he doesn't even have to be in. Like, that's a little weird to me.
I mean, it's a little weird, but it's probably the future. I mean, I have no idea if he gets paid. I imagine he gets paid, but I don't know.
I hope so.
I would guess, like, you'd figure there's no, I mean, like, there's laws around likenesses around it's been so long, around there are words I could use right now that I've forgotten that pertain to whether you can write a publicity. I think I want to say that's what it is. Whether you can like use somebody's likeness in some way without the permission. You need the permission. And there's probably a licensing involved with that. It is. I mean, I just wonder how close we are to a show completely like a live action show completely made up of digital recreations of people with like real actors kind of rotoscoped over other people. They could just like make a new original trilogy movie with, you know, Han, Leia, and Luke.
That's so weird.
Technically,
yeah,
if they really wanted to. And The Mandalorian is kind of going toward that because, I mean, like the main character wears a helmet the whole time, and he's like doesn't necessarily have to be a person either. I mean, I know it's Pedro Pascal, but I mean, look, if they just had someone else in that suit and didn't tell us, we wouldn't know. So I wonder if they're driving toward that, if that's like a long-term plan, which is be a beautiful business model, right? Like no actors to deal with. I mean, you'd have actors, I guess, to deal with, but not in the way that you usually do. You wouldn't get them a trailer. And just
cynical me says you could pay lower paid actors to be body doubles.
Who would be your celebrities? I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was interesting, and I'm sure he got paid, but I don't know. So I'd like to. We'll keep an eye on his Twitter feed. Maybe we'll reach out to him. Mark Hamill, did you get paid for your sort of appearance in the Book of Boba Fett? We want to know. Please come on our podcast, or just
we want to know.
Just add us at Wicknet.
Yeah. All right. So your final word: B-, C+.
Yeah, it was fine. It was fine. It was all right. I didn't hate it. It was fine.
Yeah. But what else have you been watching, Dan? Anything good?
Well, as Julie tells us, America's Sandra won American Survivor 2 times. I've never watched. You know what, Julie? I've never watched Survivor even once. Do you ever watch Survivor, Daniel? I never got into it.
You know, I've seen like an episode or two at times. I've never like really followed a season though.
Gotcha. And it's not.
Are we missing out, Julie?
Yeah. Are we? Should I? I mean, yeah. I just kind of my reality trash is RuPaul's Drag Race. That's my reality show that I watch. The rest I just kind of all passed me by. Fair. Other than that, I'm still I'm watching shows that I'm trying to watch Peacemaker. I'm watching the Vox Machina show. I'm enjoying both Vox Machina and the Gilded Age. I am enjoying, even though I know I shouldn't enjoy as much as I do, but they're both fun.
Yeah.
The Gilded Age is just this. It's expensive soap opera trash, but I'm like, what happens to Lady Pennyfeather? I have to know. Like, it's still very effective.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah. So I caught up on Peacemaker. I also, speaking of things that are effective, I started Raised by Wolves on HBO.
What is that like?
It's oh man, it's the most Ridley Scott thing I've ever seen. That's how I'm gonna put this. It's very weird. It's like striking future sci-fi where the graphics are very striking and very statement-y. Like you can see the main android there, Mother. Her name is Mother because this is a little on the nose, this show, and she is raising a bunch of children. And she's got like this silver skin suit. So that it gives a pretty good idea of the graphic aesthetic of this show. And basically the premise is late in the future, there was this war on Earth between atheists and hyper religious people who I don't remember their name, but it was basically Ridley Scott's excuse to have androids and crusaders in the same show. And they like wear white armor with like a sunburst on it, like tabards and stuff. Like they look like space, like crusaders.
That does sound pretty Ridley Scott. That does sound very Kingdom of Heaven.
Yeah. It really like the androids, like they have like white blood fluid. It's very similar to Alien.
Really?
So it's not bad. It's a weird show. It's a little on the nose with the whole like science versus atheism, which I think is really easy to have happen when you're, you know, having like hyper future Christians who took over the world. Basically, I think that's a really easy thing to fall into, is making it on the nose.
Yeah, I mean, any show that's kind of like has a message to convey to you can fall into the trap of like just kind of insisting on itself a bit. Are you enjoying it? Because I mean, like, I see the trailer and I'm like, that looks bold. Like, it doesn't look like boring.
Yeah, I would say that that's the case. It is bold. It's not boring. It can be shockingly gory at times. It goes from being not gory at all to just like shockingly gory. But yeah, I'm going to keep watching it. I want to know what's going to happen and where it's going. I'm not totally sold on it, but I'm sold enough that I want to see what his vision is for this show. It kind of feels like the project he's been wanting to make, because like the last Alien movie kind of felt like he'd just rather be making an android thing. So now he is.
Was that Prometheus? Or was there another one with that I forgot?
It was the one after Prometheus. Prometheus falls into this category too. So the one after that was a sequel to Prometheus that was called Alien Covenant. And it was basically... Yeah, it was skippable, but it kind of felt like it was Ridley Scott's excuse to have Michael Fassbender as an android have a scene where he's playing against himself as two separate characters.
Gotcha.
So yeah, this feels like the thing he's really wanted to be making, and it's pretty decent.
Cool. I'm glad he's out there. I mean, and again, I'm glad that HBO is spending money on like just a wild original, like a high-minded, high concept, allegorical vision of a bizarre sci-fi show. I think that's cool. It does seem like a bit hard to spell. Like Julie says that she tried to watch it, couldn't get into it, which I
totally fair.
That sounds about right. But yeah, I like that it's out there, and maybe I'll. And perhaps if I get around to it, I'll watch it. It's not like on the top of my list though, but maybe we'll see. I kind of made you watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I was intrigued though. I love Ridley Scott. Alien was one of my first sci-fi adult sci-fi movies, so I wanted to know what it was about. But yeah, and Travis Fimmel, Ragnar from Vikings, is in it. He's fantastic. He's one of the best parts of the show.
Nice. He is a talented man.
He's got a cool backstory that I won't spoil.
Everyone wanted him to play a Daemon Targaryen in House of the Dragon, and but he didn't. It's Matt Smith instead. He was like the fan cast.
Yeah, I could see him being a great Targaryen on the edge of crazy. I feel like he'd be so good at that.
Next spinoff.
Yeah, right? Aegon the Conqueror?
There you go. Something like that. Or one of the Dunk and Egg Targaryens who are a little more down to earth. We'll see.
Yeah. Baelor Breakspear? Yeah. Maybe.
Anyway, shall we move on to our final segment? The lightning round.
Yeah. Lightning round. 30 seconds. Round. We will not stray.
20 seconds.
Past the button. 20 seconds. All right. We did run a little long, so.
No, it's always 20 seconds. Did you think we're 30 seconds?
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Is it 20 seconds?
Yeah.
All right. I guess that's why I go long so often, is because I thought it was 30.
You're even
there's the
more
problem.
Effective at your All right, let's get into it. Who shall go first? You want to ask me or should I ask you?
This one's for I'm gonna ask you. This one's for you because I think you wrote about this and I want to know what I want to know the deets. So Game of Thrones news, the Winterfell set from Game of Thrones was set on fire.
I don't even know the deets, honestly. It happened. There's video of it. I mean, probably a controlled burn. This is big Winterfell set at Moneyglass in Northern Ireland. And it's just standing there. You know, sets aren't built to last forever. Eventually, they get rid of them. Like, it's just a big thing on the landscape. I think there was plans to turn it into some kind of museum at some point, but it must have been scrapped because it went up in like a spark and it's gone now. But the museum.
And it's gone now. Yeah,
it's gone now.
That's the end note.
What about this, Daniel? It's a sad day. It's not that. Okay. The Wheel of Time, that Amazon program, was the most in-demand show of 2021 in the US.
All right. Well, The Wheel of Time, Amazon's self-described redheaded stepchild of a fantasy show compared to Lord of the Rings. Yeah, I'm not surprised that it was the most in-demand show of 2021 in the US. It has a huge built-in fan base. it's one of the most influential fantasy book series of all time. So no surprise there. We've been waiting a long time.
Right. The merciless buzzer.
All right.
Hit me.
The merciless buzzer. Catherine Zeta-Jones joins the National Treasure Show on Disney Plus.
The National Treasure Show. So Disney is lining up all these kind of fit for all ages TV shows, like a Goosebumps show. There's a National show based on the movies where Nicolas Cage goes around stealing decorations, whatever. And I don't think I'll really watch unless one blows up, but I like Zeta-Jones, and I'm glad Disney is getting its stuff ready for the tweens. Perfect. Couldn't have gone better. All right, Daniel.
Fair.
Oh no. The Expanse star Shohreh Aghdashloo has been cast in the Renfield movie where Nicolas Cage, the devil, plays Dracula.
Yeah. So I think that the more I hear about this Renfield movie, which sounds real ridiculous, it's being produced by Robert Kirkman from The Walking Dead. It's being written by a Rick and Morty writer. It sounds like a comedy, and Aghdashloo is playing a gangster in it. And it's about, we'll see.
This is hard. Okay,
it is. Okay. Dune, the Denis Villeneuve adaptation of Dune scored 10 Oscar nominations, including for Best Picture. How do you feel?
Yeah, the Oscar noms came out. We could talk more about them, but I don't know. It's like the Oscars. I don't care that much. That's cool that Dune got it. Although Denis Villeneuve didn't get nominated for Best Director, which is a little odd. And like almost nothing for No Way Home, which is also a little weird. I mean, it's not weird. That's actually pretty consistent, but I feel like they should have done. I give them House of the Bone. West Side Story for the win.
Nice.
God, it was so good. I'm gonna see it again. All right.
Was it? I haven't seen it yet.
We have to change this one. The Obi-Wan Kenobi show is coming out on a date, which is
it's May 25th. It was 25th. Announced literally as we were getting ready for this show that Obi-Wan Kenobi is premiering on Disney Plus May 25th. Disney Plus execs were accidentally spoiling the release window earlier this week. And it doesn't surprise anyone. They have a book and a comic for Obi-Wan coming out that same month.
I feel like the buzzer is being mean to you. I feel like it's cutting you off more than it is me. Maybe that 30-20 seconds thing has thrown you and get cut into your head.
It's definitely. I'm not in the 20-second headspace. I need to go home, think on this, mentally prepare for next time. All right. The CW officially orders a supernatural spin-off show.
Yeah, called The Winchesters, I think. It's about Sam and Dean Winchester's parents. This was fun because this was the one that the one actor, Jensen Ackles, apparently is doing without telling the other actor, Jared Padalecki, and there was a whole a very minor internet drama. It seems soon, but I guess Supernatural was on 15 years. Close enough. All right.
Yeah.
And finally, Daniel, there's maybe photoshopped images, maybe not, of Tom Cruise playing a Iron Man Tony Stark variant on the set of Doctor Strange 2. Is it real or is it fake?
We can't say if it's real or if it's fake, but what we will say is that a lot of the leaks for No Way Home ended up being real. And Tom Cruise as a variant Tony Stark sounds kind of ridiculous, and I wouldn't mind seeing it.
It'd be fun.
It'd be
fun. I would say that too.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Take that, buzzer.
And that's well under it. We can do this. Although you know what's gonna be fun? What's gonna be fun for the future is the game has to be, we don't want to go long, we don't want to go short, we want to get our answers exactly 20 seconds. That can be our fun new challenge. Okay.
I like it. I mean, I almost went over on 3 out of my 4 today. So, but
it happens.
I'm down for more challenges. Sure.
Like that's like where we'll get in a year, maybe. Like that's the ultimate goal, to get like an internal clock that is just perfect. But you know,
like
that's the process. You need goals in life. It's important to like have things to shoot for. And this is ours. And we'd also love to see all of you.
We didn't do bad. Thanks, Julie.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you for humoring us. She also pukes over Tom Cruise, which
that's fair.
We can dissect next time, perhaps, on Take the Black Live, which we stream live every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time on the Windows Screen Facebook page, Windows Screen YouTube page. We are also available in podcast form, Google Play, iTunes, wherever podcasts are available. Thanks so much for tuning in, and have a lovely night. Bye, everybody.
Take care, everyone.
Yeah.